Geopolitical George here. Going to use this one to go to first principles. This isn't going to be real structured either. I'm spent. Going to go to the basics of what's going on now and to try to help you how to sort things out and how to think of it. All these little distractions and all this stuff that's going on, and there's so many aspects, economic and ideological, religious. Yeah, it all ties together. Let's just go back. I just tell you how I came to the way I think. Several years ago, quite a few years ago actually, I read voraciously, as you know, and I've always studied geopolitical forces and influences and tricks and history and whatnot. Just something I do in my spare time. I dabble in it. I'm an amateur. But I came to the realization a long time ago. We had the American Revolution, okay, and then there was the French Revolution, and there was kind of an overthrow movement of the monarchy. The monarchy wasn't all that great. It was horribly corrupt. But you can see in the Old Testament, the book of Kings and Chronicles, and you see the same pattern over and over again. Some great hero arises and organizes his people and fights off all the enemies and brings peace and prosperity to his tribe and his land, and then his sons inherit the kingdom, and well, they've lived their whole life never hearing the word no and being, everybody just obedient to them because they're, dad's little boys, and they ended up being king, and they're not so good. Sometimes they're absolutely horrible, and it just degenerates from there. You have people, okay, the old adage, hard times make great men, and great men make good times, and good times make soft men, and soft men make hard times. You got this cycle going over and over and over again. And political architecture has been devised in order to try to short circuit that or make it, even things out a little bit. Monarchy, it didn't work so good. There's all kinds of different monarchical systems besides the ones that arose in Western Europe. The hereditary monarch, we all know about the inbred princes and princelings that who was it, King George IV? I think they said he was completely insane, but he didn't run things. There's a bunch of people that surround them that run things. And you're going to do that anyway. You might as well have a parliament, And we had the revolution in England with Lord Cromwell and his army created a commonwealth, and so on and so forth. And the American Revolution, well, colonies. Monarchies had colonies. You've had people with a huge empty land full of resources and all. Oh, there's a whole forest full of walnut trees. Well, I'll start cutting down trees and set me up a sawmill and make fine furniture. No. The Lord Governor says you cannot do that. You have to block those things out, put them on a ship, and send them back to the mother country, and then they'll send you fine cabinetry. If you cut the whole forest down, maybe you'll have enough money to buy a cabinet. That's colonization. It's going on now. But now it's these days it uses charities and NGOs to keep it going and make it look like it's humanitarian and it's helping poor people develop. It's doing no such thing. Anyway, and we had communism arise as an answer to, well, this stuff happened in the capitalist system. It's really hard to define, isn't it? Liberalism. Jeffersonian liberalism that America is founded on, it works pretty good, but it gets corrupted fast, and there's no limits on corporations and rich people. And once they get to a certain level, they start using it to sew things up for themselves and keep others out. And then they start extracting money from poor people. It's easy to do when you're a billionaire. The government's supposed to keep that from happening, but we all got the idea that, Marx came along, and he demonstrated this poorly, I think. I think his book has got a lot of stuff in it that's demonstrably false. But anyway, he was a good rabble rouser, and he was friends with rich, powerful people, and they financed him and created this socialist movement. Well, it's a good thing to protect poor people, isn't it? And there are good people that want to do that join that movement. And then there are also rich people. They're very clever, and they see it as an opportunity to control things. You control both sides of an issue in every case and make money off of it. You control the opposition. If you have something that you know people aren't going to like, well, you create another party to go against them that you control, and you get money for that. Please donate to Stop Big Media. Donate to this little site here that my agents started to say they're fighting big media. And you get to control the story that way. I've discovered these operations. I'll have to do a video on one of those too. I mean, I had experience. I dug this stuff out. Plucky little sites telling the truth and fighting the corporate media beast. And you go looking at the people and Googling them and digging and find their history. And you find out these people are from the corporate media beast and they're still connected with them. It's an operation. It's a self-funding operation. That happens all the time. It's very complicated. It's kind of depressing listening to all this, isn't it? But wait, there's hope. Anyway, the socialism arose against the depredations of pure, unadulterated, unbridled predatory capitalism and plutocracy and whatnot. But it was kind of an operation, but that doesn't mean there's good people. There's not good people in it. That doesn't mean that there's not good principles in it either. But then you have these two opposing camps, and then socialism morphed into Bolshevism and communism, and then on the other end of the spectrum, Nazism and fascism. Two completely different spectrums, but they're still in a socialist camp. And the fascists were people that the predatory plutocrat capitalists could do business with. Henry Ford really liked Hitler. My grandfather really liked him too. He was a bit of a socialist himself, and he was really enthusiastic about this new world coming. Back in the 30s, well, Hitler was on the cover of Times Magazine as this wonderful leader. Anyway, I discovered a book. It had been written, I think, back in 2012. I think it may have been before that. The Fourth Political Theory. Wow, this is interesting because I don't see any hope for socialism to prevail, which is probably a good thing. But then what we know as capitalism has been completely subverted and made into a tool by the billionaires and corporations that want to absolutely control every aspect of our lives because they profit from it. And it gets, when you're a billionaire, or I'm sure there are trillionaires out there, you don't hear about them. But when you get that level of money doesn't matter. It's control that matters. You want to manage the world. You want to manage everything. And you want to shape people, even if it means tampering with their DNA. Even if it means getting rid of millions of them, that's okay. We'll do it. They get their people in place. They have meetings. They fly around all over the world, and they conspire with other people. And these are the most powerful people in the world. This sounds like a conspiracy theory, but you can see plenty of evidence of it. They tell you about it. They write books, and they have their project managers give TED Talks, and you see what they're going to do. And they couch it in nice language. You've all heard Klaus Schwab, and some of us have read his book. You will own nothing and be happy. I've discussed that before. That's the end game of Jeffersonian liberalism. Now, the people that got on board with it, and the people believe, oh, private property and small business, that's great. And it is great, but it doesn't stop there. There's no bottom to it. It goes on until you're a servo working for some globalist consortium that manages you efficiently, where calories in mean output. You don't get any more calories than you need to do the task that they set for you, and you don't get any more sleep. I mean, that's the way they want to manage things. Anyhow, well, if communism was sponsored by the elites, and liberalism is a tool of the elites, Fascism, nationalism seems to be as well. There has to be some other way. You need to maybe look at another way. What kind of other way could there be? You know, you have like a bipolar struggle, supposedly, between centralization and, well, they call it free trade. It's really centralized, though. It always ends up being centralized. Some people accumulate enough money where they can start restricting other people and sucking their loot out, and then it gets bigger and bigger, and it just mushrooms until they are the government, basically. What is the fourth political theory? Well, this book didn't really tell you. It just describes what it would look like and encourage, people to think and the need for one. And this has developed over the years. And it's really culminated in the U.S. If you Google it, you'll get all kinds of horrifying things about they're bringing the Soviet Union back. Alexander Dugin is a communist and a Satanist. I read this stuff. It's crazy. I know it's worked very well. It's easy to culminate. It's easy to misunderstand because it's coming from a Russian perspective. But anyway, I put some links down at the bottom. One of them is excellent. This guy's Michael Millerman. Explains things, and he's being interviewed by a typical European pro-EU, pro-Great Reset twit that doesn't have a clue, and that it's just the contrast is so striking. That's why it's such a good video. I really encourage you to watch it. It's really an eye-opener. Anyway, the struggle we got going on right now is, and has been for a long time, it's manifesting into open warfare, and it's creeping closer and closer. It's a struggle between two worldviews. It's a struggle between people that want to establish a one world government, and everybody seems to be on that side in the West. The main pole that's resisting this is Russia, ironically, isn't it? But there's a reason, if you know Russian history, what brought them to that. And it's very difficult to understand. You need a lot of knowledge and a lot of... the things I was told in school about the commies and how they operate and what they did, most of it was BS. It's Cold War propaganda. I live here. I don't see any evidence for what they told me. It wasn't good, but neither is the U.S. now. Do this. If you believe any of the mainstream stuff, do this. Look up the Russian Constitution and read it. And read the amendments to the Russian Constitution. There are English translations without commentary of Putin's speeches. And you can go back years and years and listen to his speeches. And you see consistency. You see he says what he's going to do and he does it. There isn't any bloviating or bragging or threatening. It's kind of embarrassing what all the Western leaders do. They're a joke. They make clowns of themselves. It's the only thing they can do because of their system, the way it works. So a lot of them are actors. Literally actors. A lot of them are nothing more than actors, even though they've never been in Hollywood. Anyway, a lot of your important people who are brought out for you to listen to that are billionaires and invented software and stuff like that, they're nothing but actors as well. They're managers. They don't have a will of their own. They're doing what they're supposed to by the organizations that are behind them. They were given technology by the military industrial complex to privatize it so they can do what they want and they're not subject to government control. It's a private business, just like if you invented something and made a little shop in your garage to manufacture it. Well, who can do that now? It's not allowed. But that's the idea that you're supposed to have about people like Bill Gates, for crying out loud. They're oligarchs. They come from oligarchy families. They're middle managers, and they do what they're told to bring forth this one world government and this slave state. I think he got a little dose of it. But there's people that just refuse to believe that. I mean, you need to talk to people, you're a conspiracy theorist. They don't want to hear it. They watch their shows, and they have a comfortable life, and they don't want to think. You can't do anything with them. I don't think so. people know me, but I've been here for years, and I've been saying the same thing for years. I'm consistent, but they don't want to hear it because it costs too much. Really, if you take what it inculates and see that this is a struggle, this is a worldwide struggle for either the New World Order, one world government, of which you were what you were born and growing up in, the system, or somebody standing against it that wants a multipolar world, that wants each region and each ethnic area to have their own sovereignty, to have their own autonomy, to develop in the way that they see fit, for good or for ill. Some of them won't do so good because they're nuts. And there are some societies that are just horrifying. But you know what? That's theirs, and it's none of your freaking business. If you care so much about them, then pray, or go over there to talk to people one-on-one and try to convert them to your way of life. But, don't bomb them and force your culture, which is horrifying when you see it. It includes what you see on television, your transgender type stuff that they're promoting. I mean, more than promoting, it's going to be mandatory the way they're going. You look at what these people want, and you look at the financial motivations behind it. They make a lot of money off this stuff, and they keep people in a state where they can't fight back. There can't possibly be any competition if you are born into a system like that, and you're given hormone blockers until you're, a teenager, and then you're given therapy and counseling by really twisted people, and you're force fed all this BS, and then you become something that's they can control and just doesn't have a chance. That's the New World Order. You can develop in an organic community with your elders and people that think. Unplug from the media, for crying out loud. Some people in that system they wake up in the morning and turn on the television. And they got to have that noise going on all the time. Why? You think it doesn't affect you? What's it for? How come you have to have it? Anyway. What's taking place in Ukraine is the entire West is behind it. I made some memes, baby. People that are behind that, I support Ukraine. Klaus Schwab does. Hillary Clinton does. Bill Gates does. All of them do. You have people they put it on their YouTube channel, they put it on their Facebook avatar, the picture of themselves, and they have the little Ukrainian flag there, the little blue and yellow murder puppet flag. I support Ukraine. They're virtue signaling, just like they were wearing masks a year ago. I started getting some of these people that folks know what they're after, know what they're doing. They know they're their enemy. Pointing out that that's what they support. I want to go over there and kick Russia's butt and make Ukraine into the anti-Russia and make it real strong. Keep the same people in charge that have been bombing civilians for 8 years. I've been saying this for 8 years. 8 years I've been watching it. 8 years I've been telling people. Nobody thought it was very important. And now they're going around with their little murder puppet flags saying, I support Ukraine. Let's send money over there. We need to do something about them Russians invaded Ukraine. I said, listen, do you remember what I was saying for 8 years? It's like, well, I get my information from various sources, and I like to make up my own mind. Oh, yeah. When you're not watching your shows, you make up your mind. I've had people tell me that. And people tell me, well, you point out all this propaganda here in the West, and yes, that's true, but you're over there, you're getting their propaganda, so, yeah. Now you see some thug beating some poor little guy half to death and taking his money, and you walk up and say, hey, no, guys, you said some things and he said some things, you're both wrong, I'm so above everyone and objective. I'm a spiritual being and I don't take sides. There's a lot of people like that. Go boil your head. I'm not buying it. You don't buy it either. You're not projecting anything that I'm buying. Said more about yourself than you think. There's a lot of people that do that. No, you're both wrong. Oh, everybody does that. Well, if we didn't contain Russia, they'd take over the world because that's what we want to do. Better us than them. That's the mentality of most Americans. That's going to come back and bite you. You're completely disregarding right and wrong. You're completely disregarding true and false by giving yourself a little out saying, well, you can't tell what it is. People are trying to tell you. But then, you listen to them and you think about it, maybe agree with them, then you go watch your shows and then come back right back to where you were. I'm not going to stop trying. Anyway, this is kind of a rant. I'm kind of numb right now. I got a lot going on. I can sit here and teach a nice lesson. Maybe I never can. I'm putting some links on some people that can now, and some real good stuff. If you want to understand this, I'm going to put a couple of links down there. One I recommend is Millerman being interviewed by this twit. Who is Alexander Dugin? He's been demonized, and it's oh, you're a Dugin fanboy. No. I've been doing this for years, and I see a movement taking place, and I see a viable movement that could happen. And most Americans really don't want a one world government. They don't want a new world order. They know what it is, and yet this stupid propaganda comes out, and they're so media saturated. There's a lot of veterans even that want to go over there and help the Ukrainians. You're on the wrong side. You're on the wrong freaking side. You're fighting against your own best interests. You're fighting for a worldwide slave state. Well, thank you for your service, asshole. Think about things, for crying out loud. Well, some of them can't. I don't know. They just don't have enough intelligence. I don't understand that. I really don't. How you could look at this and then, well, I do understand how you could look at it and still keep pounding away in the wrong freaking side against your own self-interest. No, because, you know the cost that it would take to make it stand the other way. Well, your buddies would think you're weird. They might even call you a seditionist or a traitor. The truth's not worth that. Oh, I might get in trouble and get fired and won't be able to pay my mortgage to the people that are trying to enslave you. Yeah, I don't know. It costs something. It's not fun. It's not pretty. I'm doing it. Oh, yeah, by the way, if you want to help, go to unclebildy.com, and at the bottom of the web page, I'm building something there. This takes time. But go at the bottom of the web page, there's my banking information. Everything you need is there if you want to contribute. I can't take Bitcoin. I can't do any of this stuff. I live in a place that's been under sanctions for 8 years, and things are sussed out a certain way, and it's very difficult for me to get money here, but I have ways of doing it. And now everything's been turned over and it's changing. But I do need to buy VPN. I do need to pay for my website, my page. It's not very much. It's very small. But I've got a below zero balance right now on my American account. If you want to help me, put some money in my account, please. And, it'll get built up and I can continue to buy VPN, which is the only way I can do anything from here. And I can maybe buy a few little niceties for my site and pay for my share site and my web page. I don't even know when they're coming up due, but if I got less than zero on my bank account, then that's it. Uncle Bildy's off the air permanently. Anyway, thank you very much, and I need to take a break. I've been the news junkie, and I've been following this stuff, both sides, what they're saying, and looking at the evidence. And it's not a pretty job. It's depressing. I'll have to do a video on just what's going on so far. But there's other people that are doing that. I'll share some links, some good sites. Right now, the information has kind of died down for some reason. Here we are on the 11th day of the invasion. They've made a lot of progress. And the U.S. is still wanting to send weapons in. They can't send weapons in. They're just appropriating that money. It's going somewhere else because they cannot send them into Ukraine. It's impossible. Russians got it sewn up. Anyway, I'm going to sign off. Now, I hope you found this useful. It's not really a structured lesson. But oh, if you got something from it, let me know. Things will coalesce, things will go together eventually if they continue. Inshallah. I'll post the links and have a good day. Geopolitical George, signing out. UncleBuildy.com, scroll to the bottom. I can't make it easy for you where you just throw your credit card in. I'm that costs money and I don't have any to make those features. I'm not a tech whiz either. I have a lot of trouble with just what I'm doing, but I do it. Hope you find that encouraging. Signing out. Geopolitical George, signing out. I did it right.